Hello, Kendo. It's your good friend, Don O'Jaundice. I just wanted you to know I've taken over. First, the Fancaste. And next, you. Welcome to Friday night. It's Brian Lape, your lifting nerd, Brainmuffin, brain cuck, whatever you want to call me, channel dad, host. With me tonight, we're going to do it the other way around tonight. All the way from New York, Michael Melpro.
You've activated my trap card.
And the man who's not known as Jeremy, TapAndDie.
Hey everyone, I've been working on my German, strudel, and bratwurst.
Yeah. I stopped. I ignored you guys after a while when you started talking about the Jews on Facebook Messenger.
That was just me being shitty.
You got to remember, Big Brother's watching, and they see all that stuff. Before you know,
I have another question.
You will get videos from Don O'Jaundice about bugs and crickets. Go ahead.
I hear you.
So anyway, this is episode 50, our big 5-0. We finally made it to almost a year, even though we've been at this like a year and a half. Sometime in June of last year was our first episode. That's how lazy we are. You were saying, LP?
Laziness. Well, I was just going to ask a dumb question about if no means anything in German, but it's probably nothing.
Well, the word no or how to say no?
Well, that depends. If it sounds like they're screaming and panicking, especially if the voice is female, does it really mean anything?
Only if you're a Republican.
Oh. Well, how do you say struggle, snuggle in German?
I don't know what snuggle is. Struggle is Kampf. I don't know. And that was one of the questions I mean, LME, I know a few days ago you were saying you were buried under a log or under a rock and you didn't know what I was talking about. But one of my ideas for this show was Justice for Juanita is the title. So, but that's I'm being very honest. If we're going to really talk about one event that may or may not have happened where no charges were filed, let's talk about Bill Clinton on his sexcapades.
Yes.
His bimbos.
Let's talk about Big Willie.
Those
Willie.
that said yes and those that said no, and it didn't matter.
See, here's what pisses me off about the whole Bill Clinton thing. And mind you, like a lot of us grew up thinking Bill Clinton was the cool president. And, we, for one, I don't know what would be the reasons for us thinking that. We just grew up that way. But, being as someone who, you already know my political leanings in the last couple of years, everybody, I kid you not, everybody's out to try to hang Trump and his supporters, saying, look at their accusations, you must believe the victim. Even look what happened with Asia Argento, even though that wasn't necessarily related to that. She got to understand she's a human being. All these dumb excuses that they're making for all these things that they're doing for the people on their side. I know I just kind of shot my own argument in the foot by jumbling everything together. Well, my whole point is that, and I was talking about this with my mom, was like, oh, the stuff about Trump. Yeah, this is documented. They know that this has been happening for years. And I'm like, well, what about Clinton? His shit was known for years, apparently. It just, the media squashed it and so did his wife. And this is the very same woman that is while not necessarily part of the Me Too movement, essentially did the whole you got to always listen and believe type of attitude that led to the Me Too movement. So talk about hypocritical much?
Very.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's I don't even know if hypocritical is the correct term, because back in the 90s, they ran cover for Clinton all the time. And it goes back even to Arkansas. And Ted Kennedy was another known sexual assaulter. But again, I mean, I it's not a joke to say it's only true if you're Republican. It only matters if you're, and it's not like all Republicans are Bible thumpers and, some kind of moral authority. There are atheists who are Republican, people who just want small government. So, and again, it's one, if it happened, it's horrible. And that's the problem too, is they are so polarized that if you say, well, it's his word against her word, and maybe it happened, maybe it didn't, but I don't think it, it's a long time ago. And it's not like he has a pattern. It's not like there's another 10 women who are going to come forward and say, yeah, he did. I mean, this was Clarence Thomas nonsense all over again. You had the Democrats trying to make something out of Anita Hill that wasn't true. She didn't even want to come forward. She actually followed Clarence Thomas. She was kind of a fan, he sort of knew who she was. But he went from different law firms and she followed him. And it is such political grandstanding that it is beyond sickening. But there are people who will believe it and keep saying it. I mean, just go look at, Twitter's full of these posts. I mean, I've come across several of them, but I know people on Facebook and everything else. And it's like, just breathe for 5 minutes and really think about what you're saying and really analyze it. But because the sycophants on both sides are who I can't stand. We would be in a lot better place as a country if people would think for themselves and make their own decisions, not say, well, I done growed up a Democrat or I done growed up a Republican and that's all I'm going to be. And they have blinders on to their side and all they see are the sins of the other. There was let's get biblical a moment. This was one of the, I guess it was a parable or a saying or whatever, one of the attributed to Christ, take the speck out of, take the plank out of your own eye before you worry about the speck in your brother's. It's the same stuff. Take care of your own house first. We have all of these career politicians. Being a career politician is great if you're a Democrat and you can somehow, be worth millions of dollars when you get out of Congress, and it's okay. But if you're a Republican and do that, you're an evil person. Or if you're, let's see, what would be the other way around? The Democrats do have a higher tolerance for evil. It'd be like David Duke. He ran as a Republican many years ago. I don't know if he's still a white supremacist or not. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's only 12 of them in the country. But yeah, that's why I posted what I did on Facebook. That I only have 2 words. That's Bill Clinton, and that's all I'm going to say about it. I think it's just. I think double standard is a very nice, polite way of saying they're full of, what?
Scheiße.
Scheiße, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
damn, I haven't heard that one in a while.
Sie sind ganz voll von Scheiße.
Ochsenscheiße.
Die große Ochsenscheiße kommt aus ihren Mund. The great bullshit comes out of your mouth. A formal speaking. So, yeah, I don't know if we have any quality people anywhere in the government, but there's probably the handful of them either are not in committee or they get corrupted. So,
I mean, that's the nature of politics. Politics, I think, it just naturally is prone to corruption. Doesn't matter whether or not you had the best intentions going in, or it's just that, like you said, we have this whole thing where people are just so attached to the political party that they were born into, if we will, for lack of a better term. And, it's ridiculous. Like, for example, Democrats keep getting held as this party of the people, and yet you try to actually analyze it. Look at what exactly have Democrats really done for the quote-unquote people, other than give them false hopes. I mean, for example, people lost their collective minds with the whole, with this whole creation of ICE, the whole Trump trying to repeal DACA and everything. And I'm like, and I keep asking people, what exactly does that even do? Because to me, it doesn't really feel like it did anything. And even then, when I took it a step further, I even brought this up. I'm like, for a president of so-and-so, and not to get all racist and everything here, but just to prove a point, for a president that, was hailed as the first black president, even though, half white, so make of that what you will, ladies and gentlemen, he didn't seem to have done a lot of good for his own people, and yet his own people are the ones that hail him. like this great Messiah.
Yep.
I'm just and then it's like he did this for foreigners, for people who aren't even part of this country. Now, I know it's gonna sound fucked up coming from someone like myself, who's born from foreigners. Mind you, my parents met here, not in. They didn't bring their whole family here. They met here. So make of that what you will, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm always kind of like bringing up these points, and it's like people never want to address them. And it's one of those things where I kind of appreciate the fact that I am part of one of them quote unquote protect classes, according to most people, because I'm always like, okay, so if you want to call me a racist, then you have to acknowledge the fact that Latinos are racist. You have to acknowledge it. And it's like I'm putting them in that spotlight. I know it's not the right thing to do, but I wanna see them explain themselves out of this. And it gets the conversations. It takes us into places where they're like, all right, I don't even want to talk about this anymore. And this is exactly what bothers me. The fact that, like you said, nobody wants to think critically for themselves. It's like you have to keep showing his loyalty to your party, despite knowing that your agenda is full of crap.
Well, they don't see that it's full of crap. They're so. This is the division it's so simple. And again, last week we talked about 1984. And that is a manual as well. It's like Machiavelli. If you read The Prince, it's two things. On one side, it is a handbook for how to maintain power and basically to conquer and everything else. And on the other side, it's a warning, and you can use it as a guide to measure against, hey, is this what's going on? 1984 is exactly the same way. If you read it as a how-to manual, you'll see, or Saul Lewinsky's, Rules for Radicals. I mean, that one's written as a how-to, but it can also serve as a warning. Hey, if we notice this and we see this, then we know what the pattern is holding, and we know what's going on. And the Democrats are much better at this than the Republicans, because I believe of Bush the father back in I guess it was in the 60s, maybe the early 70s, when the conservatives finally got fully pushed out of the Democrat Party. And he wanted to bring them in, and it was the big tent Republicans. The GOP were in charge of the Republican Party, and they were a bunch of blue bloods who just basically wanted enough protectionism to secure their position. They didn't really want these Bible thumpers, especially the Southern conservatives. Oh my God, they believe in something. And he caught a lot of crap for that, even though he's kind of more of a centrist president anyway. But the Democrats have more decades of this, but I see the same thing in a lot of the Republicans as well, where they're so, again, it gets back to that saying I said, take care of the plank in your own eye. Or take care of your own house. They're so busy looking at the other house and how nasty it is and how dirty it is. They don't see that their own house, the grass needs to be mowed, or something needs to be painted, or the carpet needs to be replaced, or your dogs are noisy, or, your driveway's got crack. I mean, there's going to be, if you're keeping yourself, let's say pure, just for lack of a better word, and you're more concerned on that, you're not going to be constantly looking at everybody else as if your shit doesn't stink, and so I don't think they see the own nonsense, what comes out of their mouth, or in their own party. They only see the nonsense of the other side. Everything that their side does is good, and everything the other side does is bad, and that's not true.
No, that this is where that's exactly like what you're saying. This is the point that I always try to make. And this is one of the reasons why I feel like I never have these conversations with anybody here in this city, because it's always going to go back to the same buzzwords: racism, misogyny, and whatever the new trend is, and how many genders this mayor passed as a law, which, by the way, is a legitimate thing over here. So it's only a matter of time before things really start getting out of control. I can't have these conversations here because, like you said, we always have to look at our own house. We always have to look at our own people. We have to look at our own culture and start calling out what's exactly bad about it. Everybody wants to always take the excuse and put it back on white people, like they're the problem. And the reason why I bring that up is because everybody seems to blame the same group. It seems to blame white people for something. And it's not like it's not right. I don't understand why people all of a sudden want to think this. And I really feel like part of it was that in the last couple years, political correctness ran amok. It started making its way into entertainment. It started making its way into all sorts of entertainment, particularly with games. We had the whole Gamergate thing. That's why that happened. Make whatever your opinions are on the subject matter. People fought back in that regard. Now we have that stuff going on with Comicsgate. People are fighting back. They don't want to take this lying down. And look at all these businesses. Look at all these things that have been ruined because of these ideologies, like slowly crawling themselves in. Hell, one thing I mentioned to TapAndDie was even, mind you, I know I do some trolling here and there on the Facebook page, but have you ever noticed, Leib, how there were some people who seem to have little spurg attacks whenever anybody even so much as joked about certain things? I don't know if you ever noticed it.
No, I've heard, and the guys talked about it last night, and they even talked more in the after hours stuff, and I have no clue. I don't read every post, and 2/3 of them I don't even see on Facebook, even in the Facebook group. So yeah, I know of what you're talking about, but I haven't witnessed it.
Yeah, it's happened a few times, and I've even had some people. One guy even had like a whole spurg attack and wrote like a whole post how the page was transphobic, misogynistic, Trump supporters. I'm like, well, that has not, like, the fact that we make all these jokes and everything, the fact that we have our own political views, nobody here on this page actively goes out of their way to shame another person for what they believe in. Now, granted, if you may have some opposing opinions, you might start going into a little more, or arguments might get a little more heated, but we'll never go into this whole SJW mode where it's like, oh, you're fucking sexist, you're fucking misogynist, blah blah blah, you're transphobic and everything like that. So that's just meaningless words to us. Either we it all becomes a topic of discussion, all is open to ridicule, and all is open to satire, or none of it is. I really do firmly believe that you cannot be protected in any class. Obviously, there's some classes that are protected because, let's just say, they use some.
Okay.
You know what I'm getting at with this. But it's just one of them things that, like I said, I know where you're coming from with this. I get upset about it too, and I feel that if more people were to look at their own homes, their own, whatever the home may be, if it's their literal home, if it's their upbringing, their culture, whatever the case may be, and actually start looking at also what's wrong with it, we'll start noticing, wow, we really can't judge all these other people as harshly the way that we've been brought up to believe. We need to really start fixing up our place before we should start looking at others and say, hey, you're the problem. And that's really all I think any of us want.
Who's clapping?
Me.
Okay.
I'm back.
I thought you was fapping for a second, which is why I got really upset.
Yeah.
As DM would say, really slapping them. GLMP, that got me so hard talking like that.
I'm really slapping those cheeks.
I need to find a horse.
Oh, he's slapping that. Oh my god. Oh god, I don't even want to talk about anything related to horses or animals for the rest of the night. I saw. Did you guys get my message about that? I saw a Medicare video that just really left me undisturbed.
I saw the message. Yeah. But
I don't want to talk about it while we're recording.
Don't talk about it.
God, I don't think I'm able to sleep tonight now. Let's just talk about something else. I don't want to talk about it anymore, guys.
Damn, LMP, you need to sit down for a second. You need some water?
Well, I tell you what.
It's horrible.
We can talk about. Did you guys? Did you read any of the articles about Bob Iger's apology, or taking the blame, or whatever in the heck they're spinning it today?
I did. I just didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah,
I watched the videos.
Yeah, I got a link. Well, at work, sometimes I use Edge for certain things and I use Chrome for others. But when I bring up even though I swear I have changed on both browsers to just bring up a blank tab, they bring up stuff. And I saw that, I forget on which browser, I think it was on Chrome. about Iger. So I'm like, I got to do a video on this. And of course, by the time I get home, everybody's already done their video. I mean, mine came out pretty late last night, but because I listened a little bit to the episode, and then I had to go do other things, and I did. What the heck is all that ruckus upstairs? Yeah, it sounds like I'm in an earthquake. I don't know what it is, but so I didn't hear. I just saw that a bunch of people had done. I mean, Jeremy had done one. But, I'm reading this article. I'm like, okay. And I actually read several others. And then I just kind of commented on the one I did. I even went to the source article. And the source article, unless you pay to get on the Hollywood Insider, they didn't even talk about Star Wars in the source article. It was mostly ESPN and what it means to have bought Fox and some other crap. But I didn't take it as it wasn't much of an admission. It's like, okay, the timing was my fault. And that was it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, we already know that Solo's release date was your fault because we already know that they didn't want it competing against Mary Poppins because I think that's going to still be in theaters by the time Solo would have come out in December if that would have followed all the other movies. So, and the Mary Poppins, I am really hopeful because I mean, granted, I haven't seen Mary Poppins in I don't know how many decades, but
100 years, right?
Yeah, I really liked that movie growing up.
Oh, he knew her. He knew her by first name.
Yeah.
He was pounding that ass.
Oh, Mary.
Like
yeah. Oh my God, Mary Poppins.
Are you kidding? Julie Andrews back in the day. Not bad, but yeah, I'm really, 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 really hopeful that they don't make this yet another SJW cuck up, but I'm afraid it's going to be. And because Mary Poppins was also a little scary back in the 60s. So, yeah. But,
I bet Leigh really gave her a spoonful of sugar, if you know what I mean.
Sugar, yeah.
That's why she calls it that.
No, that was the medicine. It wasn't the sugar. But,
well.
Yeah. So okay. So here. Okay. Let's completely sidetrack. So while you guys were talking, and I was closing tabs, and I had one open on YouTube, and one of my suggested videos was episode 23. I don't know what Ellie is barking at something. Did you hear her barking?
I heard it.
Yeah. Damn dogs. Well, they were quiet for 40 minutes, and that's when I did my recording. So now it's all over. But they're coming down here too. They're going to get louder. Here they come.
Dogs on the show.
Here they come. What are you dogs doing? Yeah, that's nice. So anyway, episode 23 came up as a suggested video. I don't know why, but this is, old school WCBS. And this was when they were debating what'll come in first, Star Wars fatigue or superhero fatigue. So I posted on the Facebook group that, and then Christopher Baca responds, when was this from? I'm like, it's episode 23, and they're on 114. They've never missed a week. Do the math or just click on the frickin' video, and it'll tell you. It's like...
It's from today.
It's... Okay, so it's April 22nd, 2016. I mean...
I was close.
So they were calling Star Wars fatigue 2.5 years ago. So... Anyway, so what do you guys think if Disney Iger hadn't pushed Solo into May and just left it in December? And obviously would not have come out yet, but do you think there would still be excitement for it? Because remember, we would have 6 more months of, you guys are a bunch of whatevers because you don't accept, Pando Lando. I mean, it's like...
I think it would have been...
It may have been worse.
I mean, as far as the reaction.
Yeah.
I don't know about excitement, but...
Well, we'd have 6 more months of how bad the fans are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So who knows? And that was one of the article that I was reading. They were talking about, Solo as if it had made money. I'm reading this article. I'm like, did you not read the articles where Disney admitted a minimum of $80 million loss on Solo? What do you mean it was marginally, I forget what they said, marginally worse or whatever. I was like, no, it wasn't. It's the first Star Wars movie to lose money. That's what? There was 9 other films, right? the three originals, the trilogy, the trequel, God, sequel, prequel trilogy,
original trilogy,
and then we've had two of the new one and Rogue One.
Yeah. So that's you're right. I mean, it's weird. It's funny how they did call it how quickly people are getting tired of Star Wars, because even I'm really getting tired of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Hearing about it, like I'll just stick to the originals but I don't even want to watch the originals right now anymore. I'll just watch something else.
Yeah. Well, I was when The Force Awakens, after I saw The Force Awakens, I was over it. So I was 50, but I've been in superhero fatigue for 2 or 3 years. But Marvel's been at it for longer than Disney has with Star Wars. You know, I mean, I finally saw Civil War. I forget, not too long ago. At some point I need to see Infinity War. I guess I'll see it when it comes on Netflix or something. But Winter Soldier was one that I think I finally saw that one too.
With the one with Robert Redford.
Yeah. Maybe that's the one I saw.
Let's see. That's how you
remember.
Because
the Age of Ultron I've not seen. Yeah, so Civil War I did see. Yeah, and I think before I saw it, I went and saw. I rented, got from Netflix Winter Soldier, and I was just like, because my son had it for like, I don't know, 2 weeks or something crazy, and he was watching it 6 times a day, and I watched it for a few minutes with him, and I'm like, and it's the middle of a fight scene, and I'm like, this is boring. It's just more fighting. That's all it is. There's no story at all. And it was just like, this is horrible. So now I can slightly adjust my tone. Because when I did finally watch it, I'm like, okay, there's 20 minutes of story and 2 hours of fighting.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was funny you mentioned the Winter Soldier. I always said that was my favorite part. I mean, my favorite MCU film. But like, as time went on, I thought about it, and I'm like, I think the only reason I like this movie is because that one scene where they're fighting on the freeway and the Winter Soldiers, they're shooting at him and all that stuff, and then he's got that M16 with the grenade launcher and all that. And I'm just like, man, this is. I thought about it. I'm like, that's the only part I've actually been watching. I haven't really watched the rest of the movie. Like, I only watched that one battle, and that's it. And I'm done. I'll change it. Like, I think it's even the only one I own. I don't even own any of the MCU movies. Except that one and the first Iron Man, because the rest of them, my brother owns all of them, so I can just watch them online if I want to. But I don't. Supposed to show you.
Yeah, I think we may have the first Iron Man on. I think we may have it on DVD. I don't think we have it on VHS. I know that we have the first Spider-Man movie on VHS.
I don't think Iron Man ever was on VHS.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's only Spider-Man that we have. But that was, the guys on the show always complain about Iron Man 3, and I actually liked Iron Man 3. I liked the subterfuge that they did with the trailer, where you think he's the Merovingian or Carolingian or whatever it is, and it just turns out to be. And the Merovingian, I think that's the Matrix.
So,
but and it turns out to be
Mandarin.
The Mandarin, yeah. And
but you see the Mandarin.
Yeah. Well,
Mandarin.
I like the ruse. It's like he turns out being an actor, and it's like there's a subtlety there that, but unfortunately, your stereotypical popcorn moviegoer isn't going to get the layering there that they did with that movie. Now, there were some things that were annoying, and I thought it was kind of screwy that Pepper Potts just suddenly has a superpower to walk. Doesn't she like walk through fire or absorb fire or something? Because she was all like molten. I mean, I don't know where that came from, but I didn't.
Well, they put that power in her, for some dumb random ass reason. I don't even think they. I mean, he just shows them he's got her tied up, and he just injects her, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna put this stuff in you, and I'm like, why? And then like later on, she's got the powers and she's using them.
Yeah.
Like, why did he even inject her with that stuff in the extremis, whatever that power was called? They had a name for it.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Hold on. Keep talking.
Okay, talking. But anyway, speaking of Iron Man 3, it was done by Shane Black, and it's funny is the dogs are barking. Dogs are barking. And then there's the fact that he did the new Predator movie, and I've been hearing some bad stuff about that one. I'm gonna just wait till it comes out on DVD. I ain't even gonna watch it in the theaters or anything. I'll probably rent it for the new Predator movie.
Oh. Yeah, I could hear Toby getting into something. That's sorry, and then he started barking at me. That's when you heard all that noise. Yeah, the Predators or the Predator, I think is what they're calling it. Yeah, I've mixed emotions about that, and mostly because of what's her name,
Olivia Munn.
Olivia Munn running her. It's like, you know, I don't know. But apparently Dion liked it.
Although you know what? Did he talk about it on the main show?
Yeah.
Okay, because I haven't finished that far.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised he liked it. But, I'll wait. Because I did see Mahler did a video on it, and it was actually pretty good. I only got like halfway through that, too. But like I said, I'll just wait till it comes out. I know my brothers are going to rent it or he's going to buy it. So I'm going to watch it for free either way.
Yeah.
I ain't worried.
Because, yeah, he I think he said it was only so or something, and then he's like going on and on about it. Is LMP back? I mean, why are we getting all kinds of noise from him?
LMP. Hombre, you there?
He said he was going to be right back. I don't think I can mute him.
Hang on. What if we just drop him and then he comes back? We just bring him back.
I can't drop him either. Can I?
Oh. I'll message him, tell him to meet it.
That's audio and video settings.
Anyway.
Yeah,
well, I will say this too about Predator. I think 2 gets shit on unjustly. I like part 2. I love part 1, but I also like part 2. I wanted to put that out there. Part 2 is pretty good.
I don't think I've ever seen any of them. I mean, I've seen parts. I know I've seen parts of the first one. But I just wasn't into those kind of movies. I still not really am. And although I saw Rambo and, I think I saw the second Rambo movie. Oh, that's getting louder.
Sounds like a vacuum cleaner or something.
Yeah. How can I... More options. I didn't mean...
Got the vacuum cleaners on.
Yeah, I don't want to... Oh my gosh. I will talk louder now.
You should watch the Predator movie, at least the first one.
Yeah.
Like, sit your kids down, all your kids, your wife, so everyone just say, hey, we're watching Predator tonight. I don't hear no bitching.
Yeah.
Because it is a good movie. Like, it was like one of those one of those movies I grew up with as a kid, and I always thought it was kind of scary at first, but then as I grew older, I just realized it was just a good action movie. I mean, it was a good, alien movie too. It was at the same time because you got it just switches from it's an bunch of soldiers going to rescue hostages, and then suddenly it's about an alien hunting them down. Did he say something?
I heard something. Now I'm getting a lot of static. I mean, a lot of static.
I'll message him through the messenger.
Yeah, on the mute. He said he sent a message saying he'd be right back, and I'm like, okay, but I'm like, dude, you gotta mute your mic or something.
I keep sending.
Hey, I can hear you.
Okay.
Were you vacuuming?
My phone was just next to the. Well, listen, I don't have a laptop or anything. I use a tablet when we do these recordings, which is part of the reason why maybe there's like some volume issues, but my phone was next to it, so it was probably like vibrating, going off. Yeah, I can tell you was muting me.
Yeah. I tried because you just mute inside the application. That's all.
Yeah, but I didn't think my phone was gonna keep going off, and I didn't think it was gonna take that long.
Oh, is that what that noise? It sounded like.
Yeah, on my phone it was just vibrating.
Oh shit! Thought it was a vacuum cleaner.
Nah.
You got a loud phone, man.
I want a new phone.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to get a new phone, but I can't really afford one, and it's a want, not a need. Because I swear that Apple's filling up my phone. It's like I don't have much at all on my iPhone, and it's constantly saying, "You are out of space," and I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm only out of space because Apple's using it. It's a conspiracy, dagnabbit. It's a
that's your problem. You got an Apple phone. I never had an iPhone in my life. That's your problem, is you have an iPhone.
Yeah.
Spying on you, downloading random things you don't need, putting gay covers, putting gay images of gay YouTube covers on your phone.
Oh, you should see what the Google phone does. Jeez.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, my son, did he go to an iPhone for a while? I don't know. He keeps wanting to Google. He's got multiple Google phones, and they've had nothing but problems with them.
Let's get an LG. Always works for me.
And I knew people that liked the Google phones because they could jailbreak them, and then they would screw them up and have to reset. And after a while, they're like, just give me an iPhone. For quite a while, the iPhones were really good, and they just worked. And then somewhere along the line, Apple just started being Apple, and then it just got worse.
It's more when that like a luxury item, just to say, "Hey, look what I got." These days, that's what it's about.
Where the fudge did all those images go that I've been saving?
I don't know what you're talking about, but it doesn't sound like something I want to be a part of. So I'm just going to disappear from this conversation again.
I'm collecting images of the Hall of Fame inductee, and I don't know where the freak they all went.
Oh, never mind. Back in this conversation.
Apparently they all.
So I don't know what you guys were talking about, but it sounded interesting.
Oh, we don't know.
About Predator.
About what?
Predator. The Predator movies.
Wait, okay. Did you guys watch it?
No. Not the new one.
Okay, see, I don't want to talk about it now because if I feel like I don't want to spoil it for you guys.
Oh, so you saw it, huh?
Yeah, I saw it, and I have a lot of choice. I said my piece about it on the fan page, and I think I rubbed some people the wrong way. And no, I'm not apologizing for what I essentially do believe was a big fault with the movie, but at the same time, I don't think it was my biggest complaint of it. I think it was just one of the major ones.
I think Dion liked it. Did you listen to this week's episode at all?
Listen to like about the first 30 minutes, and that's all I got into.
Yeah, I listened to it today at work. Did I listen on the way? I don't think I listened to anything on the way in. I caught a little bit of pop culture, Good Morning Pop Culture this morning, but not much. And then I was listening at work to that, and then I got bored or something. I had other meetings and other crap. And I listened to about the first 40 minutes of the after hour stuff. I still find it funny how I live rent free in Kendo's head. It's hilarious. I don't know. I think I pester him by not falling for his pestering. I think he's frustrated. I can't make him break. It's like, yeah, because you didn't have my childhood.
Or maybe he did break you and he just hasn't realized it yet.
Yeah.
And you haven't either.
Yeah. You grow up being bullied and badgered for years. It takes a lot. Actually, what's pretty interesting is with a minor exception this guy worked with years ago when I was at Whitman Hart. Flaming moronic communist, supposedly. Definitely.
Yes.
And it was one of those, I'm a communist, but yeah, you have everything in front of you because of a capitalist society, and your job is bull crap. Go surrender all your possessions and go join a commune out with the hippies in the wilderness, and then I'll believe you. But that guy could get under my skin because of how smug and arrogant he was, and unapologetically. I mean, you were like the top people you were talking about. LMP, that, they just don't see it. But my brother and my mom's mellowed out a lot, and my wife can irritate me, but now it's just, I just ignore her and just hang up the phone or whatever. But my brother could get on my skin pretty easily. But anybody else, yeah, you don't know me well enough to know how to get under my skin, I guess is the takeaway there. I can delight in your ignorance. And so if I can do that, then I just kind of smile and nod and go on with life. So,
cool.
Although you guys are getting close to getting me arrested, so that I would appreciate you not doing anything.
Yeah, you'd probably be pretty mad at us if we got you arrested.
Well, I'm making a joke about you and how you actually have your own Bible dedicated to you because of how old you are, and how even Kellogg's has their own gospel. So yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a day you really get pissed off at us and we just laugh at it, and like 5 minutes later after you're done, it just registers as holy shit, Leif actually means it. Probably start spewing some alt-right nonsense and going back to the days of the Fourth Reich. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Going back to the days of the First Reich.
The first one, which I don't know. Was the first one? I'm trying to remember. I did take. No, I didn't. Did I take? No, I took the second half of German history. But I should remember, because I don't remember if it's Charlemagne or the Holy Roman Empire. So, because that was the
German Empire, right?
Well, yeah, I think the Second Reich was basically when you started to get the consolidation of Germany. Germany as a country is not very old. Germany as a concept. I mean, Germany as a united country only goes back as a concept to the Ansbach Festival, 1824. Is that when that was? Now that was also the ideal unifying of Germany and Austria, the Austrian section of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So the Austro-Hungarian. This is why Vienna. If you ever look at a map of Austria, and you look at this, there's all the mountains in the west, and you get into kind of the not plains, but kind of the hills and stuff. And Vienna's way off to the east. And most countries, especially in Europe, the capital was pretty centrally located. And you look at that the way Austria is right now, and it's like Vienna's like very close to Hungary and some other country, I forget what. And you're like, why is that? Well, it's because when that was all Austro-Hungaria, and it went even further east, it was centrally located. But it just, and since the Austrian monarch were in charge, that's why Vienna was chosen, because of its Germanic roots. But I'm going to have to look up the Ansbach Festival. I only wrote a paper on it in college, but that's been 300 years. So, but
you wrote a paper on it? Man, you lived it. What you talking about?
That was the first-hand kind of experience that he wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so because Prince Metternich was in control in Austria when that happened. It's well before 1947, but yeah, that was where the first feelings of a unified Germany, because it was city-states, and then Europe looked very different. Especially the days before the Holy Roman Empire, you had the Franks, there's where the Merovingians come. You have the Carolingian and the Merovingian line of the Franks. And they're from northern, if I remember correctly, they're northern European Germanic tribes, and one line settles in what becomes France, and the other line settles in what became Germany. But Charlemagne's seat of power was in Aachen, Germany, which is close to the French border, and also I think it's Belgium too. But his kingdom went east and west from there. So, and somebody's ringing the front doorbell, and so it's like, okay, that's kind of weird. And it's like Paris, became eventually the Paris became the capital of the Frankish Western Kingdom. And I forget what became the capital. It wasn't Bonn, it was somewhere else. But anyway, and then you have like Trier, which was a city established by the Romans, It's over 2,000 years old. It's kind of weird thinking the Romans are in Germany, but they were.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were in England too until they got too big for their britches.
Stop it, LMP. He's interesting.
Yeah, I can almost remember history as well as anybody else.
Yeah, you lived through history. That's why it's called his story, because it's your story.
There we go. That's a good one. Somebody write that down.
I think the timing was just perfect for that one.
Yeah, that was
also,
good.
the dogs sound like they want to be on the show. You should definitely let them on.
Yeah, well, my daughter just got home, so Kellogg's is home. And
Kellogg's.
She's upstairs. At least I thought it was.
Suck at Overwatch.
Yeah. LMP, you need to get Overwatch so we can just play and just beat the crap out of her.
That'll be the only time that Lake will permit me to beat her up.
Exactly, like when we'll change our gamer tags to late beaters or something like that.
Late beaters?
Yeah.
Late beaters. We're making it sound like Lape is his own race.
Yeah.
It originates from the island of Lape.
The island of Lape.
That should be a thing. Like, we should just have a whole backstory behind, a whole fake backstory behind Brian Lape, and just create the story of Lape.
You know what? That gives me an idea. Just stop that right there. I'll talk to you about it later.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm talking about, Lape. I mean, LMP.
I don't know what the heck you're talking about. I'm listening to my dog.
Any more Lape ideas out there?
Yeah.
If anything, I'll tell you this much about my my opinions about the Predator movie, and I would like to say this much. As far as ranking goes from best to worst, I think in the order that the movies came out, I would say the ranking is declining. Not by much. This last one, in my opinion, while it had its enjoyable moments, I think is just, it's out there. It shouldn't be part of the Predator franchise. I just didn't like that much about it.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't know though was that Punisher was in it. Not the Netflix Punisher, Thomas Jane Punisher. So,
hey, those
I realized that was
Tourette's or whatever.
Tourette's.
Supposed to have Tourette's or whatever, or something like that.
Yeah.
I am drinking, by the way.
Is this the picture of your best friend?
No. Who does that look like? Just if you see that, who's immediately or do you think of?
Looks like a white Mr. Bean.
Yep, a white Mr. Bean, unlike the non-white Mr. Bean.
I don't know what race Braun accent it is.
Yeah, isn't that funny? That is Prince Metternich. So he was in charge of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire at the time that I'm talking about, which may have been. See, it says 18 and held as chancellor until 1848. I could have sworn that was 1847, but I can't.
You're forgetting your dates.
Well, I took that class, and I needed.
You took the class.
Well, see, I had this one semester in college, so this would have been. I guess, was this 1990 or 89? Spring of 89.
Of the 1800s?
I think it was spring of 89, because because in the fall of 89, it's when I got mono about 2/3 of the way through the semester and had to drop all but one class, and it really screwed up my schedule this following semester, because I had classes that I had that needed to take. I had the prerequisites I had to drop out of, and I needed so many credits to be considered a full-time student. I needed so many credits over 300 level or higher, just general electives, and I was literally in one of the areas where you could sign up for classes, going through the entire catalog of what was available and seeing did it look interesting? Do I have the prerequisites? No, I don't. It had to be 300 level. So I came across German History 2. You didn't need to have the first half, but so I took the second. It was like 300 level class. Big mistake. It was interesting, but it was a big mistake in many ways. But multiple times, this was Dr. Haas, the guy grew up in Austria. Multiple times during the semester, he would mid-lecture look at me and say, "What's your major again? Political science?" And I'd say, "No, computer science." "What are you doing in here?" The second time should have been a hint. Get a drop slip. I mean, I did okay in the class, but I had to work my butt off. But yeah, it was pretty, it wasn't history, it wasn't political science. And I said, I just need 300 electives. And this was the only thing that didn't already conflict with stuff I was already taking that I had the prerequisites for. So, but anyway.
Wait, did you say you got mono?
Yeah.
Who are you going down on? To be getting that.
It's a kissing disease, you weirdo.
Sexual, though, right?
Well,
in a way,
that's the stereotype. It's really staying up all night is really how you get it. More so than making out too much. But yeah, I had a classmate and we stayed up all night to do some work for a class that I was taking for the second time and didn't want to ever take again. And a week later, no, not even a week later, several days later, I started getting like a bad cold, and it just got worse and worse and worse. My girlfriend at the time never got anything. She got a blood test like every week and never showed any signs. But basically, once it went full bore, I was in my bed for like a week plus. But I was like, I am not dropping that class. I am not taking it again. And by the way, when you drop classes that far through the semester for medical reasons, oddly enough, the universities don't give you any money back. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Very.
So I'm going to guess you probably took some of that medicine that you got from the Chinese back in the Han Dynasty, and you started feeling a little better afterwards, weren't you?
Yep. 2 days later, after the department head said I needed to drop everything, I showed up in his study group. And he's like, "What are you doing here? You're alive?"
That ancient Chinese remedy ready. Breaking an old ancient Chinese, like it says, in case of emergency, break glass.
And then Lape appears.
In case of emergency, break grass.
You got to accentuate those R's for those L's.
And vice versa. Your L's become R's. But what it's one of those see, I'm red again. I can't hear myself at all, but I'm red again because LP's loud. But it's been a couple of years ago, I think by now. But there's a couple. She's American, redhead, really cute. He's Japanese. And when they decided to have children, they kind of cut back on their YouTube a lot, but they used to do all kinds of things. But some of the stuff they used to do were languages. And what's amazing is her husband would say certain words that to a Japanese person, they sound exactly the same, but to an American or an English trained ear, you'll hear an L and an R, but there actually isn't either. It's very weird. So, but that's where that's the basis for them getting L's and R's confused, because they hear them the same, even though they aren't to us. But you didn't know that.
So, haro?
Right. Haro, rectangles. Although the lady that I'm going to crank down my sensitivity. The lady that took calculus 3 during the summer, the first time around, she was from Korea, and she would say rectangles. I don't know how it looked like, but I thought she was from Japan, but she was actually from Korea. So, not Japan. I thought she was from China, but yeah. And years later, when I was working at the University of Tennessee, and I went back to take some classes, I decided to take Calc 3 and differential equations again, because I did okay, but not well, and it had been years. And then I had a lady from she was from China, and you can barely hear her speak. But I did much better in her class. There was something about the way she taught that connected with me much better. And the guy I had for differential equations too was this older guy, and I've talked about him before too. But then my wife got pregnant, and so near the end of the semester, I'd have a cell phone. And this will tell you, this is 1997. So I told both my professors, I said, I guess that semester I wasn't taking, I was doing differential equations, and Calc 3. And I said, I have a cell phone. No, that was the next semester. So that would have been Calc 3 and matrix algebra. I told both professors, I have a cell phone with me in case my wife goes into labor while I'm in class. I mean, nowadays it would be, I don't own a cell phone. That would be the weird thing, right?
Yeah, that would be weird. It would give you this funny look like probably lying.
Yeah, I have a flip phone.
You're bullshitting.
Yeah, and that phone was like a communicator. It had a little wire antenna you could pull out, and the bottom part, flipped out, kind of like on a communicator, like on Star Trek or something.
I kind of miss those phones.
Yeah. Yeah, and I missed the $15 a month bill or whatever it was back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot wait for Kelly to get her own plan. She's going to be surprised. I'm going to cut back. I mean, I had, was it 8 gigs or 10 gigs, something like that a month. And she was blowing through it every month. She was giving me $30, $45 in overcharges because it was $15 a gig on Verizon. And because it was an older rate that was grandfathered in. And then when we got another, I guess it's when I got my tablet. I don't know. Maybe it's when I got a new phone several years ago. You could get a new tablet for free, and I got it added as a data device. That gave us enough devices that they actually had another unpublished rate. I mean, it's a lot cheaper than what I was paying, but it's unlimited to some number that I don't remember, and then it starts to throttle. But yeah, it's insane. My monthly phone bill is it's ridiculous. It really is. It's like there's your college fund right there. It's like $350 a month or something crazy. So I know in New York that's that's what the homeless are paying, but out here in the Midwest that's a lot of money. But it was $4 something a month because of the overcharges every month. So there's the downside of having a daughter. So I didn't really want two sons because then the house would be completely trashed and a terror. But so I got one each. But my son barely uses phone, and my daughter just constantly uses it. Back before we had semi-smartphones, right? When you could send text messages and crap.
Mm-hmm.
And you had maybe some little apps, and you had a camera. We had to get, and I actually probably ought to undo that now, but we had to get unlimited texting because she was sending so many damn texts a month. So, but it was, you could take everybody else's and add it together and like quadruple it, and it was still less than what she was sending. And I don't remember sending so many. I'm like, who do you know that you got to send 12,000 text messages in a month? And that's back when you had to hit 1 3 times to get a C, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Who remembers those days?
That's why you gotta take that belt off, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I got spanked and I turned out pretty good. I don't do stupid shit. Oh, yeah. Well, all the time anyway.
Well, the belt set me straight. Unfortunately, it also fucked me up when they missed a few times. That wasn't exactly the most proficient with the belt. He missed a few times. It caught me in the face.
Wait a minute. Did he swing all the way around? I mean, the most thing happened to me was I hit him in my legs instead of my ass. What the hell? He was really wanting to hit you in the face. That's what it was. That's what it is.
Well, it was my fault because he kept saying hold still, but since I couldn't understand him with his thick accent, I thought he was just spouting gibberish, and that's how it happened. I got like whacked. I got a whole lash right in my forehead, and suddenly he started making sense to me. Like, I don't know. And then I was saying Heil and Gassin and all these other words that I never understood before. I started having cravings for pizza more and more, and for some reason I'm like and asking these weird questions like how many humans can fit into one machine, and yeah, that was just weird. That was just a weird man, and in the early days. I know he was very tough on me, but I do believe he meant well. I really do. He's very critical about a certain group of people, always blaming them for the troubles of the world. But I never understood what
did you grow up in Argentina? I mean, what the heck are you talking about?
Talking about Dad, I told you guys. I told you the story earlier this year that I finally got to meet my long lost dad. He was from Argentina.
Oh, okay.
Adolfo.
Yeah, and remember, your dad got turned into an anime girl recently. You saw that picture I tagged you?
Yeah, Dad. Apparently, people really know a lot about my dad. I asked Dad about it. He just kind of stays quiet. Like there's certain things he doesn't want to admit, but I'm pretty sure he enjoys his anime. I don't know. He's lived a very interesting life from what he tells me. Every time we reference Germany, he stays quiet. He just doesn't want to talk about it. But he gets really excited whenever he sees those pizza ovens. That's probably why he likes taking me there often for lunch. He's a good man. He's a good man.
LMP, you're 8 kinds of wrong.
It's a thing that only started as a one-off joke.
And then the plot twist is as Lape is your real dad.
Oh, God.
I'm not quite that old. Yeah, we're not going to turn this into a comic book. Just so you know.
No, we're gonna turn this into Star Wars in a minute.
Well, speaking of lame, let's talk about the Captain Marvel trailer.
Oh.
I did a live reaction video, and LMP was the only one watching. I didn't. He actually had to approve your comments afterwards.
Wow.
Because they got censored. Thanks.
Wait, my comment was live. I thought it was just
yes, they did. Your live chat comments got censored.
Why? Like, did I say anything?
LMP, what were you saying? Were you talking about the Jews again?
No. There was. I kid you not. I believe there was nothing about the Jews. I got to be careful. They tend to be very. They tend to be listening. God, what did I say that was like considered like needed to be censored?
I'm looking at. Whoa.
Wait, was he repeating himself or something? Like saying the same thing? Because what if they thought it was spam or something? Like he was trying to spam?
No, I got it here. I brought it up. So he says she has no ass. None. Gal Gadot has more. Yeah, Gal Gadot has more. Right see now Jeff's got me saying it wrong. Gal Gadot has more curves than Brie Flatsam. So she has no ass. That one was the first one that got whacked. I'm here fucking up your stream chat. That one got whacked. And I think the last one, unlike there was another one. Unlike Sargon, your audience can hear you. Maybe that was your last comment.
Oh my God, I got censored for things that, yeah, you might be right, TapAndDie. They might be listening to us.
Oh no, they're that's the thing they've been saying. They've been whacking people's super chats too.
So for all I know, maybe I've been saying a lot of dumb shit on the main show when they have their live chat. So for all I know, a lot of those comments of mine probably have been getting whacked.
Yeah, those were your only. I didn't realize I had anybody. I couldn't see that for some reason. When I do it on my phone, it just comes right up and you see it. It's really, really nice. You can't tell who's listening, but you can see the chats pretty easily. But yeah, did you watch it, TapAndDie?
Trailer?
No, my
or
reaction
the
video.
Yeah, I saw it later on.
Okay.
After I guess it was said and done.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say, there was no fucking F-15s in that trailer. Stop lying.
Well, that was the other one. That was the other thing I was going to talk about. So I found when I was looking for it, when Jeff first mentioned it on, I guess that was Thursday, right? No, Wednesday. It was 2 days. Yeah, it says it was streamed. Today's the 21st, so the 19th was Wednesday. The first one I found was, apparently it was a concept trailer, so I don't know if this was a fan made thing, but that was in August. And then because I went and watched that one, there were F-15s in when she gets into when she's in her pilot gear, they get into an F-15.
Oh, they get into F-16. Wait, are we talking about this one or that old one?
No, the regular one.
Okay, no, those are F-16s. Look, I'm gonna go. Look, I'm putting it up right now. I know an F-16 when I see them, because I watched Iron Eagle 2 too many damn times when I was a kid. I love that movie. I swear by that movie.
I like the first one, but the second one, the guy dies in the beginning.
He doesn't die though. He comes back in the third one. He didn't die. He just got shot down.
I thought the third one was,
or maybe it was the fourth one, but I think he wasn't dead.
Which one did they have the prop planes where they were with? It was Louis Gossett Jr. in that one. No.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I just don't remember if it was 3 or 4. I've only, like I said, 2 was my favorite one. That's the only one I watched. The only one I own on DVD is part 2.
Wow, I haven't seen part 2 in a long time.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, they were F-16s, and then I looked, and you said F-22, and what's it called? I saw the was it the canopy or whatever for an F-22? I didn't see the whole body. I just saw the canopy or whatever you call it, the cockpit or whatever.
All right.
The glass part.
Yeah, Smasher is the one that did the Captain Marvel teaser trailer, Brie Larson Marvel movie concept. So let me bring up the original. Well, I'm gonna have it muted. So this is the real one. So she falls out of her spacecraft into a blockbuster because funny. She crashed in the back, so she should be laying in the adult section, right? She should be laying in the porno movies.
So that means that when she gets up, it's gonna be all sticky. Just gonna hear that Velcro sound.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People were saying she doesn't smile. The whole thing was that she never changes expression. I didn't need her to smile, just emote something.
Well,
she didn't emote anger. She just emote indifference.
Yeah, that's the point. I think that's what everyone's talking about. I think that's just the words people saying smile more. I think it's just sort of the default word they're using. I think a lot of people understand that it's not just her smiling. They want her to show other emotions. I think that's just the word they sort of latched onto. That's what I think.
Kind of smiling. Okay, so now she's in space.
Yeah.
Looking out at something. Okay, so there's the nose of something, but we don't know. Okay, so they're walking on the tarmac. Okay, so those are F-16s.
Yes.
I thought when I was talking about where they were in different things, that was in the other trailer.
Yeah. Because it's only got one tail fin, and F-15 has 2.
I know. But see, that's the other concept trailer. They have that, and then they have 2 at an angle, and I thought it was an F-22, but then it has a single engine, so I'm like, well, that's an F-38. Especially if I was talking about...
Oh, you mean an F-35?
Oh, 35? Is that the one that can vertical takeoff? The Joint Strike Fighter? That sounded like a great idea until they did it, and... See, now wait a minute. So they show a crash. Oh, I went too fast. Let's go back. U.S. Air Force.
Concept trailer. You said Smasher?
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat here in a second. She looks like Charlie Chaplin with hair there. So that's a crash. But she's in a U.S. Air Force uniform, but that doesn't look like an U.S. Air Force plane behind her. Okay. She can't tell what's what. Apparently it turns to red, and I'm not who that'd be awesome if she turns out to be evil. All right, so let me bring up this other. See, this is a concept trailer, which I think is 100% better. Although they use these boots are made for walking. So was I talking about that too?
You mentioned that.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
see,
hold on.
right.
Wait, yeah, there's the F-15, but that's from another movie or something.
Yes, it's from like 9 other movies, right?
Yeah, that's an F-22. No, wait, that's the Y. I think it's the YF-23. The proto. There's the F-35. Because the other one was the prototype, but now it shows an F-35.
Yeah, when single engine, the big single
Yeah.
engine's F-35.
Yeah. What the hell? This kind of looks like a trailer. Oh my god, seriously?
Yeah.
Hold on. Did you see the crash and then like it shows her visor broken?
Yeah.
That was from the Halo Reach trailer. That is from the Halo Reach trailer because I know because I saw that trailer so many times because it was so cool. That was from Halo Reach. Oh my god, seriously.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Yeah,
That's
so
what they're using.
There's a bunch of F-15s in flight, F-35s. Yeah.
But we can make a joke about it being Halo Reach style.
Yeah. Was she in Halo Reach, or are they just someone that looked like her? Because there's one shot in this one where she turns around, and I swear it's Katie Sackhoff.
It probably is because
and then
they're using different stuff for movies. Because like right now, I'm looking at the part where it shows an F-35 going up in the air, but that's from the movie Ender's Game. They're just using clips from different movies.
Yeah,
That's
that
all
is
it is.
Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar
you're-
Galactica at 1:12. And because see the I forget the actress's name, but she played the president in the Battlestar Galactica reboot, and I think that audio is lifted straight. It's when I think that's from when Starbuck comes back, and they're not sure, because her ship blows up, and then she comes back several months later, and they're not sure if she's who she thinks she is. Says she is.
Thinks she's a Cylon.
Yeah, but they're not sure. So and then there's a couple. Oh, that's Independence Day 2 at 1:27. That looks like Independence Day 2, and then right before then there's just some made up ship, and then there's something that looks like it's out of I want to say Guardians of the Galaxy. And then there's a helicopter that goes by. There's a bunch of, that's Katie again. And I don't know who that is. Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff. I think that was Battlestar Galactica as well. I think that was Apollo when he kisses Katie's hand, or Starbuck's hand. Blah, blah, blah. But this looked like a lot better movie. Although they do have Brie Larson with the red eyes at the end. So that's constant. So it's like, was this a concept trailer that the studio actually put out?
No, because I've seen those. I didn't remember the channel name, but I've seen the trailers like that before. They just make up these trailers.
I know.
But like, I don't think the studio put it out. Why would
several items are in the studio trailer. Now, they're not identical, but the same concepts. Her red eyes at the end and stuff like that. That's pretty weird. Maybe somebody had inside information and put it to good use.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. You know what gets me though on the actual trailer is that part where she's like falling down, but then she's getting right back up, and I'm like, is she an anime protagonist now? Because that's like seriously, like don't like in every anime, the guy, the hero, or whatever, falls down, he gets right back up. It's like, oh, I have my friends or whatever bullshit, and then they get back up and keep on fighting. And
Jimmy Neutron rules. That was, and I think it's one of the Last Jedi. I forget who it is. It's like, are we playing by Jimmy Neutron rules now?
oh yeah, well they can breathe in space or whatever.
Well, Leia's not dead because of that. I will say this about that movie, about The Last Jedi, and Johnson did this on purpose. It's like he set up everything to go against what you think is. It's like even parts of a scene set up something. You're like, oh, this is where he's going, and he goes somewhere else. Like over and over and over again, with the exception of the Kando Bite stuff, which was just really that capitalists suck and the poor are only poor because the rich take it from them. So, but hey, if we trash everything, but we leave them as slaves, their life will be better. They won't get whipped or anything after it's all said and done.
Right. Broom boy won't have to clean up or anything.
Broom boy. And someone, I read somewhere that I forget, somebody on the internet said that to them, that was already the time jump. And I'm like, he didn't get any older. We just saw him 20 minutes ago and he's the same age. It's like, not like he, was a teenager now.
Yeah, it's and then all of a sudden they've heard of this battle that happened and they're all big on the rebels now all of a sudden.
Right, and they know what goes on. I think that was part of how they were saying that was a time jump. And I'm like, these are the same kids we saw in the movie. It's like 2 days later. I mean, maybe it's 2 weeks later, but it's not like it's 10 years later. And yet somehow they know, that it ended in, was it Cinema Sins or I think it was Cinema Sins. It said, movie literally ends with a toy commercial. Because you have the plastic ring and all that other crap that nobody bought. Yeah. Now that kind of pushed my buttons a little bit. Jeff was 1.5 miles from my house, if that, when he made when he did Ollie's Bargain Barn. One of them is 1 mile. Maybe it's 2 miles, but it's very. I mean, I could have been there in 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, Ray should have called you. Y'all could have did it together.
Yeah, I wasn't doing anything. I was like, dude, you should have called me, but yeah, because there's 4 in the area, and he went to 3 of them. I didn't know there were more than one, so I had to look them up. There's one over in Kentucky. There's one near me, and then there's one not too far from Jeff, actually. So, because when you pick him up and drop him off, you know where his house is.
Ooh.
I don't know the street address though, but I know how to get there, sort of.
Well, find out for me so I can send him some stuff, and then I'll tell him to send it to Dion. I'll get some mannequins together, and I was like, "Hey, get these to Dion when you get a chance."
Yeah. He does need to get.
You gotta send a horse head.
Hey, the easiest way is when he gets the website up is to buy a T-shirt from him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does need a PO box. He does need to get up. See, I sound better when I get closer and I talk less. I talk quieter. For the next AMR session, I'm going to talk like this.
You're gonna talk like a predator.
I'm gonna talk like this. You need a cheeseburger.
Hello there. Have a seat.
What?
Have a seat.
All right.
Right there.
So anyway, the trailer. I did my reaction video, and I fell asleep. What do you think of this?
I'm watching. I watched the video. Like, when you look like you were just disinterested.
Yeah, I was like, hey, man. How'd you like that, LMP?
I think towards the end would have been great if your daughter walked in on you sleeping and just like, Dad, and just walked off and you would never wake up. And whole time you're still sleeping and it's still recorded, you start mumbling to yourself.
Lake falls asleep, but then she comes in and she's wondering, she's saying Dad or whatever, but then she looks at the screen, she falls asleep too, she just falls to the ground. Every time someone...
It'd have been if Leif starts just mid in his sleep just talking. He's like, yeah, just saying gal over and over again.
Microbrewery.
Yeah, I want to know how you guys started this stupid nonsense that I rate beer. I review beers and hate them.
I don't know. I just follow them. I think I don't know. Hear Kendo talk about it, but I never I didn't know where it was coming from. I just thought he was just talking shit or whatever.
What really ended up happening is that a lot of these just started as one-off jokes that I made one day. And I remember one time I made that joke that that it was to be a two double. It was two jokes in one. How you remember that you're old. You remember the time when you turned all the beer in you turned all the water in Egypt into beer and then gave it a bad review and Jeff read it live on there. And ever since then I made it my life goal to just start making jokes about you being old. And I think I don't know if that might be the origin of you giving bad reviews, because if anything, your reviews are, I won't say it's bad. It's just you just seem to rate whatever you think it is, and you always give a reason. Okay, it's too flat. Maybe it's been sitting out too long. Maybe yeah, and other times I try to keep track of everything, especially now that I do make jokes about these things. For example, and this is how I started the whole gospel of Kellogg's now, and just try to keep it short and sweet and to the point. But no, I don't know if anybody else actually ever said that you give beers bad reviews.
Well, Kendo did on the show last night. He said, this, he's probably reviewing a beer that's got 12 hops, varieties of hop, or 40, and he hates it or something. I don't remember. And then they talk, because I actually listened this morning when I was outside with the dogs to the whatever it's called. The after hours or after dark. I guess it was after hours because when Dion's there, it's after hours. When he's not there, it's after dark.
Brooklyn Supreme.
Yeah.
That's his new name now.
And Brooklyn Supreme. And it came up there, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then I started listening to the show, and it came up again. I'm like, all right, okay, whatever. But I will say this. I was shooting some reviews, I guess it was last Sunday, and because I had some beers that the guy that we met up there brought with him. And they were from Upland Brewing. And because I noticed that when we were sitting around eating, the pizza was great. And it was it was the thickest pizza I've ever seen in my life. And, it was like a carb overload. It's like he brought like 4 pizzas and everybody ate like 3 pieces and we were full. We were hungry. That was Friday night. Saturdays when we went to the steakhouse. And I had one of the IPAs and I was like, this doesn't taste right. And so when I was reviewing, I went through there and I said, because that one I had before and I didn't give it a high rating on Untappd previously. So I figured, okay, this probably I just should have checked Untappd again. And the other ones I hadn't had. So I was shooting reviews and I had a I put Leonard's, not the one I shot a different one. I had a bottle from my son's friend's father is getting into homebrewing. I had one of his latest beers. And I started doing some of the Upland ones and I poured another one. I'm like, this doesn't taste good either. And so then I look at the bottle and it's like best by March or April or something. It was earlier in the year. I'm like, wait a minute, this guy brought a case of bad beer? Did he, for all I know, he bought it on the way over because he bought like a 12-pack of bottles. And I'm like, and see, this is the problem. This is a big problem. The big brewers, they come in, they will pull their products off. I know Miller with the High Life, they had a commercial series about 8 years ago, but they all do that. Samuel Adams does that. Stone does that. Stone will come in and take, he's like, if they find out and they've done this in countries where they've found that people have been smuggling their beers in and they don't have a distribution plan and they will come in and remove it. In some ways to protect their brand, in other ways because it's not legal. And, but the smaller breweries don't. And if your retailers don't keep track of that, you can easily buy bad beer. I've even at Jungle Gyms where they keep track of a lot of stuff. I had several cases like a couple of years ago, not cases, but instances where I bought stuff and then I realized it was bad because I started drinking. I'm like, what the heck? And look at the bottle. It's why that, I wouldn't say expiration date, but a best by or a bottling date is very important. And this all of this stuff was old. And eventually I shot I think one or two more and they weren't good. And finally I had like 2 or 3 left and I just opened them and dumped them. I opened them and the smell was horrendous and I just dumped them. And I was like, ugh. So I'm hoping the guy just, he didn't know he bought something and I hope he just didn't bring something that had been sitting around for too long. Because they were all, they were kind of medium grav beers. So they're like in the 5.5 to 6%, maybe a little bit more. So they're not high enough alcohol to age and they weren't the kind of beers that age. And some beers just kind of, they go off a little bit. And then some types of beers will get really, bad taste and everything else. So I was very disappointed, I think is the right word. But I mean, I was annoyed. I was disappointed because I was looking forward to trying some stuff that we can't get around here. So I was like, oh, I hate that this stuff was old. And I forget that guy's name. He's the guy that works at the comic store in Indianapolis, but I don't remember. I kept forgetting his name all weekend. So, well, it's like the people that we met on Sunday or Saturday. The guy that brought the purple dildo to Dion. I know he's been on. I think he was on the Patreon thing the other night. But I even during the thing, I couldn't remember his name. So.
It's just, hey, you over there with the purple dildo.
Well, he spent a lot lot of time at the table, and there wasn't enough room to sit, and my legs started to cramp, and I had to walk around, and I just went on and did other things. So
how much do you think he spent on that? I mean, like, you're walking around with a purple dildo. I don't know. I just like, I'm still trying to fathom that.
Oh, the guy that brought it to Dion?
Yeah.
I don't know. $20. I mean, it wasn't. It was probably about 6 inches long. What was really funny, and they did mention this on the show. Saturday. Was it Saturday? It's all a blur now.
It's probably Saturday.
Was it Friday?
We'll just say Saturday. Does it matter?
Well, because Saturday we went to the steak place. It had to be Saturday night because Friday night, I don't think we did that Friday night. But anyway, that's when we were walking down the street. Yeah, that was definitely maybe went steak place Friday night, and Saturday's when we had the pizza. And because there would have been a football game, so that must have been Saturday because that's part of why it took the guy that long to get there. But later on, we were in a bar, and Dion had, I don't know, I'm getting this all out of whack, but at some point we went to the bar in one of the hotels, and Dion still had the dildo with him. That's why I think that was Saturday. And I did way too much drinking that weekend, but that's when we found the abandoned bottle of scotch too that we brought back. It was very good, single malt. But he had it in a bag, and they were showing it. They did some pictures, and it was laying on the table. And it wasn't our main waitress; it was this other waitress came over, and she's like, "So what are you going to do with that?" I think she wanted it. It was funny. Like, hey, because it had a clit stimulator bunny thing that vibrated separately, and yeah, it was that
wouldn't be a dildo; it'd be a vibrator, or specifically a rabbit.
Well, it had that plus the dildo part, so it was duly equipped,
so to speak.
So to speak, yes. That was implied. But yeah, that was funny. That was funny. So I could have swore that was all that had to be Saturday. So because we went looking for beer on Friday, and that's when we went to the steak place, and Saturday's when we had the pizza, and then I think we did that, and then we went out, met everybody at the hotel. I don't know. Because I think Dion brought that with him because we knew that we were going to meet up with them, and take pictures and crap like that. So
I just realized something. Isn't a dildo the same thing as a mannequin part?
That's a good question.
Oh yeah, because it's supposed to. What's the word I'm looking for? What does Dion say about mannequins? They're a perfect manifestation of a human or something like that. How does he say it?
Yeah, like they're imitation of human, especially when you build a mannequin, it's an imitation of different human parts. It's like that uncanny valley thing. And when you really think about it, the only thing missing from the mannequin is some genitalia. But essentially, if you were to put a dildo on the mannequin, you could make the argument that it's part of the mannequin and everything. So Dion has some explaining to do. He has some really serious explaining to do now, Dion. Okay, are you afraid of mannequins, or are you just or dildo's the exception?
Maybe if someone get a mannequin and we'll just put a strap on it and send it to them.
Okay,
like
I'm gonna pose that question. I'm gonna pose that question right now and see what people say. I think we might have a good debate on our hands.
All right. For those 9 people who listen, let's debate that topic. All right. Anything else?
Not really.
No.
No?
Okay, I got something. That's a little game. Little game of. Oh shit! Am I echoing?
Yes, you are.
Ugh.
So am I. So it must be LMP that's echoing us.
No, that's just my normal talk.
Is this still going? Okay. Shit. Hang on. Okay. Is it echoing now?
Nope.
No. Okay.
That's good.
I would say let's play a game. Let's fuck, marry, kill.
All right.
All right. So, let's see. Who would pick? Okay. Jeff, Dustin, Kendo.
Jeff, Dustin, or Kendo. Oh wow. I know who I would kill, but who I would fuck. This is a tough one. This is terrible.
You can marry. Look. I'll do it then. Marry Jeff because it'd just be platonic, and he'd be rich because he's gonna make that big money.
That's
Kill
the reason
Dustin. You kill Dustin. It's simple. I would throw shoot him into space or something, and then you fuck Kendo, but you just don't look at him the whole time.
See, here's the thing. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna marry Jeff because for the reasons you listed. I would kill Dustin. I don't know. I guess I'll impale him with a purple dildo or something. And I cannot finish the sentence. I cannot finish that sentence. I am pretty sure it will get back to Kendo, and Kendo will be pissed. And he will never let it down. Like, I don't want to talk about Limp anymore. I'm done talking about. I want him banned from the Facebook page. I want him banned from future chats. I want to make him the second person to get banned off of WCBS. And I'll be like, Kendall, understand, I did not start this. I just was answering the question.
What's the matter, LMP? This is your friend, Don O'Jaundice.
Oh, God.
I guess it's my turn to answer. Marry Jeff, kill Kendo, and whatever Dustin. Because he has experience.
Looking at those dicks, right?
Yes, right.
Oh, shit.
He has the experience. He knows what he's doing.
First of all, wasn't he the one that also said something about a rabbit? And I'm not talking about the sex toy.
I don't know.
Yes, I specifically remember the NC's. Okay, I won't say I remember every detail, but one of the things I remember in the NC-17 episode of the WCBS, one of the episodes where he was still on it, was that they brought up the idea. He brought up some very interesting ideas, and when I mean by interesting, I mean weird, disturbing, and also like, why does it sound like you had these thoughts for a long, long time, and you just were waiting for the opportunity to say them? And he said something like, if he had his option about like what he would screw, all I remember was something small, furry, with long ears and a cotton ball tail came up.
Oh, wait, yeah. I think I do remember now when he's talking about that. I thought you were talking about that time he was saying about how young you would go. Remember?
I am like, they're going to get kicked off the air.
Yeah. Dustin said a lot of disturbing things back in the day.
But I like the Jeff's response. He's like, I don't want to say because I've always liked older women or something like that. He says, I've never had a thing for anything younger. Just laughing.
Yeah.
I don't mind the older ladies. There's nothing wrong with them. And I'm perfectly fine with older women here and there. as far as younger girls are concerned, you always have that and I'm not talking about the traps are gay kind, but the other type of traps. You know, the ones
The
that
ones where it's really Chris Hansen, right? Where it's actually just Chris Hansen.
yeah. Yeah, the one where Chris Hansen will be involved. Next thing you know, he's asking you to have a seat. And unless your name is the Booty Warrior, and you're the Chris Hansen, or as he likes to call him, Chris Handsome, you're not getting out of that one alive. God, what was that guy's name? I know he had a name, but he just called himself the Booty Warrior.
I don't know his name. That's all he's ever going to be known as is the Booty Warrior. No other name.
Like Chris Hansen. May I call him Chris Handsome?
Mm-hmm.
And God, you still remember that episode?
Yeah, it's like one of the best episodes they did.
And how he just like he's getting raped and the cameraman is still filming.
I know, right? Like you think somebody would have stopped him before he got to do anything?
It's like the one episode of To Catch a Predator was never aired, and I could have sworn there was an episode where somebody took like a swing at him or the knife or something.
No, I think there was an episode where a guy killed himself. Like
yeah, like
shot himself, something like that.
There was episodes where they really did some really crazy shit on that show. Mm-hmm. Nothing with actual real life rabbits, but it's still pretty crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Never ask that fuck, marry, kill question ever again. I feel so dirty.
Calm down.
Oh God, it's that just I cannot even end that sentence on like who I would fuck because it's so wrong. It's a crime against humanity and nature and in heaven and earth and hell. It's just wrong.
Okay, well, LMP's having his mental breakdown.
This is why Lake chose to kill him.
Wait, kill Dustin?
No. Lake chose to kill Kendo.
Kendo. Oh, okay, that's what he did.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm not putting myself in that situation.
I can't wait to hear Kendo talk about it. He's just gonna be like, well, I want to see wait to that reaction. Hopefully he does hear about it so he can.
He'll be like,
about
I got to him. He killed me. I got to him.
He killed me. It's like Kendo is Joker to Leif's Batman. Can you imagine these two as Batman and Joker?
I'm doing it right now.
I'm Batman.
Like, I'm trying to think of what bat suit he would wear, Leif would wear. I'm imagining the Val Kilmer one. Yeah, Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer? I was going to say Adam Wee.
Oh, the Adam Wee stuff. I didn't get that joke either.
Nuts.
It's like when What's-His-Nuts killed himself and Kendo kept pronouncing his name wrong, and it took me, half the night to figure out he was doing it on purpose.
Wait, who killed himself?
The guy from Breaking Glass or what?
Breaking Bad?
No, that singing group. It was like a year
ago.
Linkin
Park?
Yeah, Linkin Park.
Chester
He kept saying, Chester Battenfield and, Blester's Chesterfield and, yeah.
Chester Butterball?
And I kept correcting him, and then somewhere, I don't remember if he said it or somewhere along the line I picked up, because he said it, I think he said it a little bit more drastically or something somewhere, and I picked up that, that's the joke. I don't remember how I figured it out, or maybe I never did. He told me afterwards. I don't know. So, all right, if we're done, I mean, we've been at this over 90 minutes. I can do the...
So, I'm not doing no fuck, marry, kills anymore.
So, let me just kind of give you a little... I'm going to do a little plugging for my own channel. I'm working on a video. It should be out tomorrow. I'm going to finish it hopefully tonight if I can get a good intro on. I found an article, a very interesting article about prime numbers and whether or not there's actually a pattern to them on a large scale. and using quasi crystals and other X-ray scatter patterns. It's interesting. And so it's a new feature that I'm starting called the Brain Vlog. I may appear on it from time to time, and this is just me talking about an article as opposed to, at some point I'm going to get picture-in-picture and all that other crap working, and I'll be a little bit more professional. It's a little bit quicker than the Braincast. I do have ideas for the Braincast. Actually, I've got footage and stuff, screen captures and other things that I've created for the Braincast. I just haven't put anything together because I'm a lazy idiot. So that's coming out. It'll be out tomorrow. I'm going to try and do some more live stream and other things as well. Anybody else got anything before we get on to the Hall of Fame?
I do.
I'm gonna check that channel.
Kellogg's is here. She can talk.
Talk.
It did.
What's she going to talk about?
Not feedback. The Gospel of Kellogg's.
Yeah,
Oh.
Kellogg's got a
that's
gospel
right.
dedicated to you.
They're writing a gospel for you. Yeah. Huh? Because
Why?
they like annoying me.
Oh, good. Thank goodness.
Excerpt
So-
from the Gospel of
Here,
Kellogg's.
say something.
I
Did
agree.
she just bark?
Gotta talk on this side.
Damn, she's barking at you late.
I don't have
You
anything.
gotta set her straight.
I don't have anything interesting to say.
What game are you gonna go play?
Probably Stardew Valley.
Just talk to the
What?
mic, not to me.
I don't want to talk to the microphone.
Stardew Valley?
Stardew.
Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley. What the hell are these game names
There was a
nowadays?
spider on the door.
You
Yeah.
guys,
What are these kids
Hmm.
playing these days?
they want to play. They want to learn. Was it Overwatch? You guys said you wanted to play well and then beat her in Overwatch.
Late beaters. Team late
That's the
beaters.
only way-
Team
yeah,
late
that's the only way
beaters.
late would allow me to beat her.
They have late verbs. They send me messages during the day. Late verbs.
Late verbs?
Yeah.
That's
As in like
weird.
proverbs.
Oh my god.
So it'll say late verbs 30. 30,
That's
19.
funny.
And
You
now
should
so-
read some of the ones that I've created so far.
from today.
No, I haven't
Ellie, oh
created
my
one
gosh,
today. I
you're
haven't had
so
a chance today. But some of the other ones, for example, like when you were in Egypt, and when the universe was only
Yeah, see,
80.
yeah. This is me talking low. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, she's gone. All right.
Don't worry.
So anyway,
continue
that's
the Gospel of Kellogg's.
right. So that's what I've got coming up on my channel, as well as the Brain Vlog. Basically, one of the things that when I was chatting with Nick, I think I talked about this last week, but if you look at some of my older videos, it's amazing how many views I used to get. And then when I started doing more and more beer reviews, my view count went down drastically. In fact, my first beer review is like 7 years old. It has like 26 views. It's not advertiser friendly. Alcohol is not advertiser friendly. I might as well be smoking a joint. But
I would like to see late smoking a joint.
but if you
See how that goes?
you do Millville protein reviews, my video comes up first in Bing as well as in Google. That's nice. So I got that coming up. Hopefully out tonight or early tomorrow. I also have a there is an article I wanted to talk about tonight, but we're out of time. About Brie Larson complaining about people doing the memes and putting smiley faces and all that other crap. I'm gonna do this as a video as well on my channel. This apparently she's posting her own stuff, which I think is funny. It's like, hey, play along. Let's do it. She's putting other smiles on other people's faces. But like I said, it's not the smiles. It's the actual emoting of an emotion that other than, my God, I'm bored out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So tonight's Hall of Fame is Naomi Lenoir. Naomi Lenoir is a French model and actress. She's worked for Gucci, L'Oreal, Next Gap, Tommy Hilfiger, Victoria's Secret, blah, 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 blah. She's been photographed by the renowned photographer Annie Leibovitz. She is from Les Ulis, I guess. Les Ulis. It's Lesulis. So I know you'd say the first S because it's followed by a U. So Les Ulis, France. She's 38 years old. Born 1979. So she just turned 38 because it's the 19th of September. So happy birthday. Her birthday was 2 days ago.
Yay.
Yay. Swivel and dribble.
Hooray.
And there was much rejoice.
And there was much and they ate Robin's minstrels, and again there was much rejoicing.
Yay.
Yay. Maybe if we run away more, it'll confuse it. So, what do you guys all got to say?
Jawohl.
Yeah, well. So I have been your moronic host, Brainmuffin, and with me has been TapAndDie.
That's right. I don't need oxygen. Oxygen needs me.
And Liquid is a Metal Pro.
This is from the Gospel of Toby. Obviously, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm pretty sure you guys would understand if I were to explain it like this. It's something that a dog does to himself.
You lick your own balls?
Well,
Wow.
obviously, I can't lick my own balls, but that is what it was written from the Gospel of Toby. So you better learn to read the Gospel, sir.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, you fruit bats.